I'm going to go ahead and, all right, we're recording. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to share my screen out real quick, and I'm going to, the talk that I'm going to be due today, in fact, I'll let you look at it. Let me share screen and go back to this bad boy here and share, and let me go, that's the group, that's the leads, this right here. So you're looking at my talk. So this is, if some of you guys have seen me use this type of thing before, this is just the way I organize my thoughts when I get ready to do a talk. So what is your why? We had some people, like we were talking, and like, it'd be great if we could kind of start with something basic like that and build upon it. And so I took some notes down. Try not to jump ahead. I'm really kind of just putting this on here so you guys can see how I prepare things. I like to show people kind of what I do and like how I do it. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. But let's just jump right into this topic, because I think this is a pretty important thing if you're going to do a business like this. All right, so what is your why? First off, why is your why important? And I have a hard time not seeing people. Where's people at? Give me a second. All right, here we go. I need to look at least one. I don't know. I never knew that was a thing for me. I have to look at people in the eyes. So yeah, weird. All right, so why is your why important? First of all, it's an emotional connection to your deepest desire that you have inside of you. I think that your why helps define your identity and who you are. About it, I'm going to mute everybody. I want this to be quiet here. Mute all. There we go.
Unmuted. Uh-oh.
Wait. Hang on. Peace and quiet and tranquility. I love it. I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself. Allow participants to unmute. So if you have a comment, that's fine. All right, sorry about that. All right, but so to recap, it's I think the why, and I was thinking about this morning, it really is, it's an emotional connection that you have deep inside of you to what you deepest desire, what your deepest desire is. It's inside one of us. Sometimes I think those wants and desires are hidden from us. And so we're going to talk a little bit about like how you can mine that stuff out. I do think it helps define your identity, like who you are. And if you think about it, the things that you want in life really say a lot about you as a person. You know, everybody's got different dreams, goals, aspirations. We could call that why you do the things that you do in life. A why is bigger than something just that you work for. Like you could take away money as a requirement, and if you have a strong enough why, you're going to move towards whatever that is. It's what motivates you on the inside. It's like what gives your life purpose? What are things that you want? What means something to you? This is the stuff that makes you laugh. This is the stuff that makes you cry. This is the real you. So this why is kind of a big deal. All right, so it really defines like who you are. I think that our whys aim us towards the activity that leads us to our goal. In fact, I've got a note to mention Joseph. Joseph is going to do the next week's talk is going to be on goals, which is a little separate of a topic, but I don't think you can have good goals if you don't have a solid why at the center. I think all things are birthed from this place, this why that I'm talking about. But I think that your why literally aims you, like it causes you to take action towards whatever your goals are. I also thought about this. I realized that the stronger your why is, the shorter time frame your why controls your actions. So what do I mean? If you have a weak why, you'll work on that every week, every month. The stronger your why is, the shorter the time frame your why controls. People that are more motivated, that have a stronger why, they're going to do stuff on a weekly basis. You got like Andy Albright talking, his why is so dang strong. He's doing stuff. He's got his day managed into 15-minute increments. His why is so strong that it shrinks the time frame that manages our activity. Our why will manage our activity. You will always do and act in accordance with what you really want. You will always do that. All right, so how do you find your why? This is kind of a big deal. You'll hear a lot of people say, I don't know what I want. Relax. Most people don't at first. I know I didn't. I had this vague why when I got started that I wanted to be successful. Okay, cool. Your why over time, it will grow. It probably is going to grow as you surround yourself with more people, right? That have whys. Sometimes you do have to kind of borrow from other people's why. And I think this is one of the reasons that association is so important when it comes to a business like this, because I believe that our whys start to become shaped and clarified when we associate people that are in life, or place in life, or at least headed to a place in life that we want to be. They don't even have to be there yet, but people heading in the same direction, I think, is important to keep yourself surrounded by them. Same reason churches, it's important. If you're a Christian, you got to go to church. You got to be in people that go to church and want to be a good person. Doesn't mean they're perfect, but they're heading that way and they want to be that way. So just like us, you got to be around the people that are headed in the same direction you are. And you'll find that you'll start to borrow people's why sometime. Like, I love the fact that Andy Albright has set up why for our whole organization. It's PI, it's prosperity, inspiration, and eternity. And his why, those three topics are so broad and so big, it allows us to fit our individual whys inside of something like a company mission like that. Because most of the time, people like us, they usually are trying some form of prosperity. They like to be inspirations to other people, and they do want to make a lasting impression on the world around them. And so inside of that huge umbrella, your why is probably going to fit in there somewhere. I think, and so I've got like a little line here. It's like a teenager a lot of times when we start to try to find our why, because if it's the first time you've ever heard of this concept, find your why. What's your why? What's your why? You're going to hear it a lot around cultures like ours. I feel like a lot of times we're like that teenager. You remember this in high school. You're trying to find your identity. You're trying to find what clique do I belong in? Am I a surfer? Am I a redneck? Am I, like, we all have these images that we don't know who we are yet. And I think that, and so you did that in your teenage years, and you may have done it in college if you went to college. But as an adult, I think a lot of us struggle to find out like who we are as adults. What type of an adult are we going to be? And so I think this is why I've got that red line that goes right back to association. I think I know no one is impervious to the environments that they put themselves in. The only choice in life that we have are the environments that we put ourselves in. So make sure you're making smart decisions and putting yourself around the people that are headed in the same direction that you are. And if you can do it, find people that are where you want to be in the same type of line of work, which is why our hotspots, our boot camps, our conferences are so important, because it gives us a chance to associate at a higher level and realign our why with like our true self, because it gets muddy. I think our lives get muddy a lot just because we're human beings, right? And so anyway, it does come back to like being a teenager a lot of times. And so I know this too. Our self-image, and this is probably one of the biggest parts of this talk right here. Our self-image heavily influences our why. Our self-image is vastly shaped by our past experiences. I think we all come into this world with a blank slate. I think the only thing that we're scared of when we start this world is the fear of falling and the fear of being abandoned. That's it. Psychologists, there's a lot of study on those two things. And then we try things, and for whatever reasons, I mean, everybody has different failures, but as they grow up. But the one thing we all have in common is that we have failures. Every one of us do. We all have stuff that we've had to overcome in our lives, and those experiences shape us. And so our past experiences have a major impact on our self-image. And I'm going to explain why self-image is such a vital part of where our why comes from. I'll say it real quick. If you don't feel worthy that you could have a jet, for instance, which is an extreme for most of us, then your why is not going to be that jet. Your why is going to be somewhere below that jet. But the only difference is which way you aim, and that aim comes from your self-image. You're going to aim for things in life that you think you have a shot of getting. Your brain likes to succeed. Your mind does not like to fail. If it does not believe it has the ability to accomplish something, it's not going to try. It doesn't want pain. Your brain and your mind only work towards two things: pain and pleasure. It heads towards pleasure, it heads away from pain, right? And so, and I'll tell you, the greater of the two is our avoidance of pain is greater than our desire for pleasure. At all costs, we just want to survive. We just don't want pain. We hate pain so much. And so why would we set ourselves up for something we will never get? We don't want to torture ourselves. And so that's why self-image is so important. So I've got a couple of things I want to read out of a book that I love. It's a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. It's by David Schwartz. I'm just going to read just a couple of things. But this is from page 60 if you have it. And so listen, this ties into past experiences. Whether the psychological problem is big or little, the cure comes when one learns to quit drawing negatives from one's memory bank and withdraws positive instead. Don't build mental monsters. Refuse to withdraw the unpleasant thoughts from your memory bank. When you remember situations of any kind, concentrate on the good part of the experience, forget the bad. Bury it. That's contrary. A lot of it's like, oh, you can't bury it. No, bury it. Move on. We got to go. You ain't got time to relive stuff that hurt you a long time ago. We're adults now. We got crap to do. We're never going to be perfect. So why do we have to pretend that we are? Bury it. Get moving. If you find yourself thinking about the negative side, turn your mind off completely. This is something that I've learned to do with my my struggle of like social anxiety and speaking in large groups and small groups even. Because I remember the last time I had like an anxiety or panic attack, my mind wants to reach into that memory bank and go there, and I've had to learn to turn it off. As soon as it happens, I've learned to shut it down because I can't let that seed grow. I can't feed that mental monster, and that's all they are. And here's something very significant and very encouraging. This is awesome. You'll like this. Your mind wants to forget the unpleasant. Remember how your mind likes to avoid pain? Your mind wants to forget the unpleasant. If you'll just cooperate, unpleasant memories will gradually shrivel and the teller of your memory bank will cancel them out. So that's good. That's good stuff. That's good news for all of us. Let me click over to page 87 and we'll continue. Just a couple more things from this book that I think are relevant right now. This is just a little longer. It's only 2 pages though, so it won't take too long. All right, so it goes like this. What determines how much you're worth? And so this plays in self-worth, self-image are synonymous. After a training session a few weeks ago, a young man came to see me and asked if he could talk to me for a few minutes. I knew this young fella, now about 26. He had been a very underprivileged child. On top of this, he had experienced a mountain of misfortune in his early adult years. I also knew that he was making a real effort to prepare himself for a solid future. Over coffee, we quickly worked out his technical problem, and our discussions turned to how people who have few physical possessions should look toward the future. His comments provide a straightforward, sound answer. And this is the guy that was less fortunate. He says, "I've got less than $200 in the bank. My job as a rate clerk doesn't pay much, and it doesn't carry much responsibility. My car is 4 years old, and my wife and I live in a cramped second-floor apartment. But professor," he continued, "I'm determined." This is good, but because David Schwartz is the professor in this case. "But professor," he continued, "I'm determined not to let what I haven't got stop me." That was an intriguing statement, so I urged him to explain. "It's this way," he went on. "I've been analyzing people a lot lately, and I've noticed this. People who don't have much look at themselves the way they are now. That's all they see. They don't see a future. They just see a miserable present. My neighbor's a good example. He continually complains about having a low-pay job. The plumbing that's always getting fouled up, the lucky break somebody else has just got, the doctor bills that are piling up. He reminds himself so often that he's poor that now he just assumes that that he's always going to be poor. He acts as if he were sentenced to living in the broken down apartment for the rest of his life. My friend was really speaking from the heart. And after a moment's pause, he added, if I looked at myself so he's referring back to the young man again. If I looked at myself as I am, old car, low income, cheap apartment, and hamburger diet, I couldn't help but be discouraged. I'd see a nobody that I'd be a nobody for the rest of my life. And then he says this, I've made up my mind to look at myself as the person I'm going to be in a few short years. I see myself not as a rate clerk, but as an executive. I don't see a crummy apartment. I see a fine new suburban home. And when I look at myself that way, I feel bigger and think bigger. And I got plenty of personal experience to prove it's paying off. Isn't that a splendid plan to value yourself? This young fellow is on the express way to really fine living. He's mastered the basic success principle. It isn't what one has that's important. Rather, it's how much one is planning to get that counts. And then this is the last thing I'll say. This is a double underline this. It must be important. The price tag the world puts on us is just about identical to the one that we put on ourselves. Okay, and so that's big out of these. And so as you reflect on what I just read, think about like your self-image. Think about your past experiences and how it shaped you, and think about not where you are but where you're going. The more you can focus on where you're going, the more success. I'll say it this way: success will find you faster. If you think mostly about where you are right now, it slows success down. If you think about success constantly where you're going, it speeds up. So you have a choice to make. Focus on the miserable pain you feel now, or focus on where you're headed. And I'm telling you, I've lived through it. I've been on both sides of this coin. I'm not kidding. All right, last thing as I wrap this little talk up, build your self-image and your why will build itself. Self-image, it's like a snowball. It builds on itself. And so I want you to think about a snowball, a very small snowball, and you start sending it down a hill that has a lot of snow on it. What happens to that snowball? As it keeps moving, the snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so make that a likeness of your self-image. But what happens if you have a snow hill that's just got a little bit of snow and you start rolling it down and then it hits grass? It gets bigger for a second. Once it's that grassy patch, what happens to that snowball? It starts shrinking, starts getting smaller, and so will your self-image. And so you've got to make sure that you're doing things that like you want a snowy hill. You want stuff that's going to build your self-image, not take your self-image away. One of the easiest ways you can do this, I got a few, but I do want to mention this one. The more you do the things that you say you're going to do, the more your self-image will grow. The more you don't do the things that you tell yourself, not other people, the things that you tell yourself that you're going to do, if you don't follow through on a commitment, you start to hit that grassy hill and your self-image starts to go down. It starts to shrink. So I want to give you a couple tips on how to build your self-image, and then we're done. All right, so gratitude. Gratitude builds self-image. I'm starting with this one because it's the easiest thing to do because it's just a choice. It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't cost really any time. I mean, it's almost like it's an attitude. Is all it is. Take stock of what you have already. Don't think about the things that you don't. Don't think about the things that you've lost. All that's in the past anyway. All you are right now is like the air that you're breathing this microsecond and the thoughts and feelings in your head of where you're headed. And you either are in your mind, where we spend most of our time, we're headed down towards a bright path or a dark path. Get yourself going down this bright path, and the quickest way to do that is take stock and inventory of the things that you do have in your life and be thankful for them. Ignore the bad stuff. Congratulations, you're a human being. We all have it. But if you've got 2 arms, start with that. If you're breathing normally, start with that. I was on Brant Swindell's call this last hour. I was helping him out because he's out of town, so I was helping Case out. And Mary and Bob Swindell helped a family out. This guy had not left his apartment in 20 years because he got in a motorcycle accident when he was younger, and he was basically trapped in it. He didn't really have the means, or didn't have people that would take him around. So they had to write the appointment and wrote the whole policy through a window because the guy can't move. Did you get up and get yourself coffee this morning? Great. Count that as a win. Because if you start small in your gratitude, it literally will help your self-image. You will feel better about yourself and who you are if you're grateful for what you already have. So start with gratitude. Second, acknowledge your wins. And so what I mean by that, everybody's going to have wins now and then. One thing we all do have in common is failure. But when you start to, like everybody, here's what most people do. Didn't work out. When they'll talk about their failures, but when they win, they skip over them. They're just, because a lot of times, and this is indicative of where their self-image, the wins aren't in line with the self-image that they have. And so you can act your way into feeling this instead of feeling your way into acting this. So first of all, start with gratitude. It'll put you in the right mindset to start acknowledging your wins. So I would do it every morning. Just be thankful for the things. Take a minute and just go through. Say out loud if you want to, but be thankful. And then as you have wins throughout the day, I've heard Andy Riddle talk about this. Let's just say the red light goes in your favor. That's a win. All right. Acknowledge it. Say it. Say, man, I'm lucky. Instead of saying, oh, I hit another red light. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Man, I'm awesome. It will do your mind and subconscious wonders to hear yourself say that about yourself. All right. And so acknowledge your wins. When you book an appointment, say, whoa, I'm awesome on the phone. Even if you've gone you've talked to 20 people and they've all said no. And as soon as you get one, that's a win. You have to acknowledge it consciously in order for it to stick and add to your self-image. So a broken clock is right twice an hour. So when you have your wins, even if you're horrible, right, in your skill or whatever it is you're working on, you're going to have some wins. Don't forget to cement them in your mind by acknowledging them. You'll see me, I walk around all the time, I'll clap my hands. I mean, it's ridiculous. Sometimes when the toilet doesn't clog, I'm like, whoa, check it out. No plunger today, baby. That's a win, right? I'm like fired up because I just had a small win. That seems crazy and stupid, but it keeps me fired up. All right. And then after you start acknowledging your wins, repeat gratitude. Be thankful for your win. take a moment to be thankful for it. Another way to build your self-image is help other people. It's another easy way to do it. It's a little harder than gratitude because a lot of times it takes effort. Gratitude is just an attitude. It's just a perspective. You literally can be sitting there and not moving and have gratitude. I mean, that's how easy gratitude is. It's a mindset. You could go from being really negative, sitting on a bump on a log, to being really positive, and the only thing that might change is your body posture. That's it. I mean, gratitude's so easy. So do it. All right. Help others win though. This is another way. When you can't seem to figure yourself out of a mess, right? Stop. Like, have you ever, it's almost like walking away from a problem and coming back to it. If you'll just stop trying to solve your own problems and stop focusing on what's wrong with you, go help somebody for a little while. It can be for a few minutes. It can be a quick phone call. You can go volunteer. You can go help somebody on your team. You can call on somebody and just give them an encouraging word. We as people are designed to help each other, and it will release positive endorphin. It's actually the endorphin is it's oxytocin will be released in your brain. It's the survival of the herd hormone. But when you help other people, you'll have a release of that, and you can't help but feel good about yourself. So another way to pick yourself up and to add to your self-image. Now, once you help somebody, wouldn't it be cool if you acknowledge that? Not in a cocky way, but in a confident way. Say, woo, I'm a good person. I help people. I just help them out. I feel it. I love it. Right. And so acknowledge it. There's so much just acknowledging the good in your life and then being grateful for it, to lock it in, because we're trying to get down that snowy hill and be the biggest self-image snowball we've ever seen. Repeat your association with your small wins. What do I mean by that? Well, as you start having gratitude and you start acknowledging your wins and you start helping other people and acknowledging that, association will have more impact on you when you go into an environment like a hotspot. And so it's big, like it's almost like, I think of like hotspots, and I almost feel like during the week, as you're doing all this, you're having gratitude for yourself and you are helping other people, you're adding wet clay to like a sculpture. But when you go to the hotspot, the heat from the hotspot turns it into clay, and it's like a kiln. And now you permanently add it to the person that you are becoming. All right. And so when I say repeat association with your small wins, it's important that you come in after you've had a week of winning, so it solidifies you and it burns it in, because you're gonna act different and be different around people when you're winning. Now, here's the biggest thing. It's the last thing. The last thing in the world you shouldn't do. Don't hide when you're down, because that's all of our tendency. I'm guilty as all get out of this. I will disappear in a heartbeat when I'm not winning, or if I just don't feel like winning. I will hide like the best. I'm better than a bunny rabbit. I'm gone, like super fast, right? But it's the worst thing in the world that you can do for your self-image, and it gets harder, and because you start this cycle of going down, and you can get yourself out of it. And hey, I'm an experienced climber. I can get myself out of some deep holes. Done it many times. But why? If you'll just do nothing but stick around the heat and stay close and be around people that won't hit you when you're down. I think that's part of the reason we pull away. I think life in a lot of ways has conditioned us to hide so we don't get hurt further. We're already feeling bad enough about ourselves, so we run away. If we'll just pick up the phone call, and it's always encouraging, which is why it's so important that we encourage each other. It's like 98% encouragement, 2% correction in this business, and certainly for ourselves. Like I've learned, and Lisa's been with me long enough where I used to be like 30% encouragement and 70% like, hey, get your ass together or act together, right? I've learned, I guess I've matured, and I've also been humbled by life enough to know that most of the time people know what's up. They know when they screwed up. They don't need you telling them. They just need a friend. They just need somebody to say, hey, no big deal. Been there. Take as much time as you need. I'm here. And as you do that, and you become known as a person that's like that, you'll gain people in your life that stick with you longer. And at the end of the day, this business is all about relationships. And so when you do that, and I'll wrap with that, having strong relationships it's a multiplier of your self-image. Because at the end of the day, most of us judge ourselves based on the friendships that we keep, and the more positive friendships we have, it reflects back onto us about how we are and who we are and what we think we're worth. So anyway, I'll unmute it, but that's my talk that I put together. It was requested by a Heidi KG. So she gave me the idea for it. So I'll give her credit for it, but hope this helped. And I hope you guys got something out of it. So,
Chris, that was phenomenal. Thank you. That hit the spot.
Hey, awesome. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Means a lot coming from you too,
I
especially.
will ditto that. That was amazing.
Oh, Annette. Means a lot coming from you too, sweetie. Two of my longtime friends. Y'all seen all kinds of sides of me.
We've been through it.
Yeah.
Super pumped I didn't clog the toilet today.
Hey, that's a win, baby. That's a win. Hang on, I got to chat. All right. Oh, thank you, Kay. Much needed. Good stuff. Thank you, Chad. All right. Well, guys, next week we'll kind of do the same type of stuff. We're going to go through the administrative part, but then Joseph Cagey is preparing to talk next week on goals, and it's from the Brian Tracy book, Goals. So make sure, it's so funny watching Stephen yell on mute. That's what it looks like. Yeah, get some people on here. We're going to try to provide more content to the teams, and anybody that is a leader or is headed towards leadership and you guys want to participate in doing these kind of like little sessions, I think it's a great way to really keep yourself sharp and preparing talks, because eventually you're going to be on stage, or you already are, and it just kind of helps you do that. Plus, it'll give you a chance to give back and help other people, which will increase your self-image. Because I know I feel better after doing that talk right now, just talking to you guys. So with that, Courtney, any closing words?
No, I'm good.
All right, we love you guys so much, and so happy you guys are part of our team and our family, and look forward to seeing everybody real soon. Remember, we got boot camp coming up on the 31st. That's just a couple weeks out. That's here in Jacksonville, Florida, and it should be a fun time. So look forward to seeing you guys in. If you have any questions, give me a call. Y'all should all have my number. Talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right, bye, everyone.
Love you guys. Awesome job, Chris.
Thank you, Joe.